Good afternoon, YouTubers. My name is StarASMR, and welcome to my fourth video now. This one is going to be finally the reading from a book that I've been promising to read from by Chloe Rhodes, called A Book of Old-Fashioned Superstitions, Black Cats and Evil Eyes. Before I start this, though, I do need to say thank you for a few people for their support. Miss Bunny Whispers, Brad Robbo, Whisper Red ASMR, ASMR Machine, and Whisper Sparkles ASMR, because those 5 people have given me a lot of support over the last couple of days with regards to starting on making content, really. And I basically want to say thank you. And if you haven't already found their channels, go and have a look, because they're all awesome, basically. And you'll find so much brilliant content between the 5 of them. It's spellbinding, it really is. And without further ado, with the little cheeky link by saying spellbinding, I've got the book here. So that was a bit of a harsh noise that you just heard, but here it is. It's a lovely book, lovely little book. Every sort of chapter or entry is about a page, maybe 2 pages long, and it's fascinating. There's so much information in here. So let's get started. Let's delve in. Horseshoes. Horseshoes can be found hanging above the doors of homes across the world and are thought to ward off evil. One source of this belief in the Western world is described in the true legend of St. Dunstan and the Devil, written in 1871 by Edward G. Flight, which tells the story of a first-century blacksmith monk who later became the Archbishop of Canterbury and one of England's best-loved saints. Legend has it that during his days in the foundry, Dunstan was asked by a man to make some horseshoes for his own feet. As Dunstan prepared for the man's feet for shoeing, he noticed that they were cloven-hooved and realized with horror that his customer was the devil. Exhibiting the fearlessness befitting a future saint, he drove the nails into the soft center of the hoof, causing the devil so much agony that from that day on he didn't dare go near a horseshoe. The protective power of the horseshoe, however, predates not only St. Dunstan but Christianity itself. Hindu texts use the Sanskrit word yoni to describe the sacred temple or womb representative of the goddess Shakti, which was believed to be the origin of all life, and is depicted in the ancient stone carvings, paintings, and architecture as a downward-pointing horseshoe. It was also an important pagan symbol representing the crescent moon and the ancient moon goddess, Artemis and Diana. In Arabic countries, the horseshoe is incorporated into amulets that protect against the evil eye, which in British, Celtic and Germanic folklore, a horseshoe nailed above the door was used to defend homes from witchcraft. In the West, as the more secular idea of bringing good luck has taken precedence over the need to ward off evil, the positioning of the horseshoe has become significant. In the UK and the US, they're most often hung with the open end up to stop good luck from falling out. Through folklore tradition, it's sworn that this encourages troublemaking pixies to use them as seats, so open end but slightly tilted is optimum. In the rest of the world, the open end is usually down, mirroring the shape of the sacred womb. Whichever way a horseshoe is hung, more luck can be gleaned by keeping it in place with 7 screws. Okay, so a lot of this reading from the book is going to be a lot of stop-start, but I'm going to try and hide that if I can. The Evil Eye. Belief in the power of the evil eye dates back to the earliest civilizations, and references to it can be found aplenty in the writings of ancient Greek and Roman poets and philosophers, including Aristophanes, Plutarch, and Pliny the Elder. but simply it refers to the belief that those who possess the evil eye, sometimes described as a jealous spirit, can put a curse on others, usually unintentionally by gazing at them enviously. The evil eye is usually developed in a person by their coveting from the good fortune of another. Biblical references also exist. Proverbs 23:6 reads, Eat thou not the bread of him that hath an evil eye, neither desire thou his dainty meat. Blimey. The effects of the curse vary slightly between cultures, but the late American professor of folklore and evil eye expert Alan Dundas wrote that while the belief in this power spread through the Middle East, Africa and Europe, especially the Mediterranean region, with many variations in the methods used to avert it, the feared effects of being given the evil eye tended to be similar. Diseases related to dehydration, such as vomiting, wasting, or shriveling, sometimes resulting in death. Young children are believed to be the greatest risk of the evil eye, perhaps since their beauty and innocence is the most likely to attract envious glances. Praising the appearance of a child is also believed to attract the evil eye. In so many countries where belief of the curse is strong, it is customary to touch a child immediately after praising it in order to remove the curse. In Bangladesh, mothers of young women who are particularly likely to attract the envy of others through their beauty put a black hole mark behind their daughter's ear to counter ill effects. In the Middle East and some Mediterranean countries, glass amulets showing a blue eye are worn on jewellery or hung over doorways to repel the evil eye's power. Blue eyes are regarded as evil in these countries because they aren't usually found within the local population, and the belief is likely to have been underpinned by the prosperity of blue-eyed tourists to these areas for failing to recognise that photographing or cooing over children is frowned upon. Jewish tradition protects children from the eye by tying a piece of red string around their wrists. In Italy, where the curse is also believed to affect men and cause impotence, a hand gesture that uses the fingers as horns used to counter it. These days, such preventative measures are usually judged to be effective. Through the past times, the prevalence of diseases causing dehydration in young children meant that many deaths were put down to the influence of the evil eye. Now, two things I need to mention at this point. You might be hearing a lot of background noise, a lot of vehicles and cars. It's around about 5 o'clock in the evening when I'm making this video, or this audio track to go onto the video, and there's a lot of vehicles passing by because I live quite close to a main road. Sorry, it's the best I can do at this point while my little studio, aka the back bedroom, is still being put back together. Also, I think it's now prudent that we learn about moonlight. A lot of you will be listening to this video at night time, so it's kind of like the perfect chapter. Moonlight. As the closest and brightest aspect of the night sky, the moon has held humankind in its thrall since the earliest of civilizations. Though the ancients had no notion of the gravitational influences the moon exerted on our planet, they did believe that the moon controlled all the water on the earth, and that not only the oceans, but also the fluids within their bodies were acted upon by the moon. The word lunatic, from the Latin lunaticus, meaning moonstruck, was used to describe those who seemed to be sent temporarily mad by a full moon, and was in use in English from the earliest of the 14th century. In 1393, William Langland's allegorical poem Piers Plowman refers to lunatic lollers and lepers about, more or less mad according to the moon's phases. In the days before neuroscience had shed light from the intricate workings of the brain, people suffering from brain disorders such as epilepsy were thought to have been afflicted by madness brought on by the waxing and waning of the moon. This belief gave rise to strong superstitions surrounding the power of the moon. To sleep in moonlight was thought to cause insanity or moon blindness, and special care was taken to draw the curtains against the full moon. It was also considered dangerous to look at the moon in the mirror, or to stare at it for too long when it was full. These beliefs became further entrenched in the Middle Ages, where stories about werewolves and vampires combined with an unshakable belief of the influence of the devil to feed popular fear about the power of the moon. All kinds of inexplicable behaviour was attributed to its influence. In its very error of the moon's, wrote Shakespeare in Othello, she comes more nearer the earth than she was wont, and makes men mad. Some of us still blame the moon for unusual antics. It has been linked to a rise in the number of suicides, hospital admittances and crime, and although there are no scientific studies to prove it, the police have reported an increase in aggressive behaviour on nights when the moon is full. Some British police forces even employ extra officers to cope with the surge. Interesting point, there was a full moon just the other night. Yeah, there we go. Black cats. Black cats feature in mythology of many cultures, and superstitions about them are still familiar to most of us in modern times. They are a prime example of the contrariness of many of our superstitious beliefs. Some swear that they are lucky, others see them as a sign of certain doom. According to Norse legend, Freya, queen of the Valkyries and goddess of fertility, drove a chariot pulled by black cats, and some sources suggest turned into horses possessed by the devil. In the Middle Ages, black cats are often portrayed as the familiars of witches, which is likely to be the origin of the distrust in which they are regarded in America, where early Puritan settlers rejected anything associated with the devil and witchcraft. In the US, it is still considered a bad sign if a black cat crosses your path, since it means that you have been noticed by the devil. In Germany, the same rule applies if the cat is walking from right to left, but if it crosses from left to right, then good fortune is coming your way. In Scotland, the arrival of a black cat outside your home is a sign of coming prosperity, whilst in China, black cats are regarded as harbingers of hunger and poverty. In Italy, if a black cat should rest on the bed of a sick person, it is thought to signify the patient's imminent death. Someone's leaving. In England, a black cat is considered lucky if it walks towards you, though there are countless variations and reversals of the rule across the world, the origins of which have become blurred and blended by the passage of time. The 16th century English author William Baldwin's satirical work, Beware the Cat, put into print the belief, commonly held at the time of its publication in 1561, that cats were in fact witches disguised in animal form. A cat hath 9 lives, that is to say, a witch may take on her cat's body 9 times. In Great Britain and Ireland, though, it's considered lucky to own or see a black cat, particularly on important occasions such as weddings or at the start of a long journey. King Charles I was so convinced of his own black cat's luck-bringing qualities that he had it guarded around the clock. When it eventually died, he was reportedly devastated that his luck had run out. Coincidentally or not, the king was arrested by Cromwell's troops the very next day and was beheaded 2 years later. Never kill a robin. The robin redbreast, or European robin to give its official title, is amongst the most beloved of gardeners' companions. Sociable and bold, they seem unafraid of human contact and are easily tamed, which makes it easy to see why killing one is regarded as wrong. However, our concern for their welfare has roots in Christian folklore. Legend has it that, as well as singing with all the other birds to soothe Jesus as he suffered on the cross, the robin also tried to remove the thorns from its head, and its feathers became stained with Christ's blood as it did so. An alternate version of the origins of the redbreast tells how a robin present in the stable where Jesus was born noted that Mary and her baby lay sleeping at the fire that was keeping them warm almost died out. The robin rekindled the flames by fanning them with its wings and was rewarded with its red breast by Mary when she woke, in recognition of its devotion. Both versions cast the robin in good-hearted and selfless, and secured the bird in its place in folklore favour. A rhyme featured the robin from a collection of poems, songs and fables for children. A poetical description of songbirds, published in the US in 1773, sums up the esteem in which they were held. The robin and the jenny wren are God Almighty's little cock and hen. A similar sentiment is conveyed in William Blake's Auguries of Innocence by the familiar lines, "A robin redbreasts in a cage puts all heaven in a rage." Fear of heaven's rage meant that most country people regarded it as extremely unlucky to kill a robin, even by accident. The repercussions for doing so vary from place to place, but all are severe. Some say the hand that snuffs out a robin's life will shake forever after. In Irish folklore, a large, painful lump is said to appear on the right hand of anyone guilty of the sin, while in Yorkshire it is thought that if a farmer is responsible for a robin's death, the milk his cows produce will turn the colour of blood. We're going to finish it there for a bit, but we'll come back to Black Cats and Evil Eyes by Chloe Rhodes at a later date. So what I'll say is thanks for listening. I hope this has whet your appetite for some more folklore and legends, and I'll see you next time. Toodle pips.